Dragon Age the Veilguard has been one giant spectacular failure for EA and BioWare, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better for them anytime soon because I think they put this game on PS Plus hoping that it was going to draw in a heck of a lot more players, but it has failed to take off even for free. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, this situation is funny, but also kind of heartbreaking, right? Because I have loved BioWare games in the past. I really wanted Dragon Age the Veilguard to come out and for it to be fun, but unfortunately, it wasn't. And now they're kind of reaping the consequences of their own actions. This is what happens when you push existing nostalgic fans away from a franchise in order to make room for the new modern audience. Those people never show up to support games because maybe there's a couple hundred of them out there. And with Veilguard, I genuinely believe most of the sales were just people who were hoping it was going to be a good Dragon Age experience, and it wasn't. So over the past couple of months, they've tried to find out ways to get more people into the game, to pump up their sales numbers and their player numbers, and they had just put it on PS Plus for the March 2025 lineup, and it doesn't look like that's working for them. So this is a Tech for Gamers article. It says Dragon Age the Veilguard was released very disappointingly last year. While fans had massive expectations before the release, a significant poll found that the title was the most disappointing release of 2024. For me, it still wasn't. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was the worst just because I had a little bit more love and a little bit more nostalgia for the Arkhamverse. That is one of my at least favorite video game series of all time. I absolutely love it, and KTJL was just so heartbreaking because again, it modernized a franchise that didn't need to be. And with Dragon Age, I've loved some of the other games in the past, don't get me wrong, but I felt like leading up to launch, we knew to expect bad content just because of the direction that BioWare's gone in over the past couple of years. I mean, look at games like Anthem and Mass Effect Andromeda, all really spectacular fails. So I had a little bit less hype for Veilguard, but regardless, it definitely was one of the most disappointing releases of the year. Even though the developers had massive expectations, a recent report suggested that the developers were hoping the game would sell over 10 million copies in 3 months, but sold just 1 million copies in around 2 months, which is so funny to me because, yeah, they initially had hoped that this game was going to sell 10 million copies in only a couple of months, the first quarter after release. They really were hoping that they would be able to make a boatload of money with this, and I don't fault them for having high expectations. I fault them for not being able to deliver on gamers' expectations, because if this had been more in line with Origins or Inquisition, and they really tried to still make it feel kind of dark and gritty and atmospheric, I do think that it could have sold 5 million copies within the first few months. 10 was a little bit of a stretch, but regardless, I think that it could have sold a heck of a lot better, but that didn't happen. So the game was recently released on PlayStation Plus, and it appears that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Cowabunga Collection had more players than the recently launched Dragon Age The Veilguard. Now, this game has only been out for a couple of months. It only came out at the very end of October, so you would think it would not be on PS Plus yet. This is the quickest turnaround that I've seen. Even something like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League took a full year because companies want a game to be available for purchase as long as possible so they can make as much money as possible. And it seems that they got desperate. I mean, of course, things like this usually aren't happens, in 1 or 2 days, but there is a possibility that they just had decided, you know what, we had 2 plans in place, one if the game was successful, one if it's a failure, and let's just go for it and put it on PS Plus, and that's just not a strategy that's turning out that well for them. So as you can see, it is sad that a 2-year-old title had more of a player count than a recently launched title. Some of these are pretty obvious. When it comes to true trophies, it says, of course, it gathers data from 3.4 million active PSN accounts. The data revealed the most popular PS5 and PS4 titles for the first week of March. So this is not everybody who uses PlayStation Plus. This is not the entire PlayStation network, but it is still a very good way to judge numbers. It says number one's Fortnite, 2 is Call of Duty HQ, 3 Grand Theft Auto 5, 4 Marvel Rivals, 5 EA Sports FC 25, 6 Roblox. It's just funny to me that Roblox is still beating modern games. 7 is Monster Hunter Wilds, which, keep in mind, that was a brand new release, so that didn't quite top the charts yet. 8 is NBA 2K25, 9 Rocket League, 10 Minecraft, 11 Rainbow Six, 12 Apex Legends, 13 EA Sports College Football, 14 the Cowabunga Collection, and 15 is Dragon Age the Veilguard. So number 15 on the list is really freaking bad for them. You would think that, again, it would at least now be maybe top 5, even if not top 3, though it can't even secure top 10. It says, though, not too long ago, EA claimed that Dragon Age the Veilguard failed because it wasn't a live service title, making it even more unclear what the developer's future plans are for the gaming industry. They are so out of touch. It's pretty insane at this point. You'd think that after months of gamers criticizing them and raising questions and voicing their concerns, these people would have learned to listen at some point, but they haven't. They really believe that this game failed because it wasn't a live service title, when gamers do not care about a live service game or not a live service game. Hell, I know a lot of gamers prefer non-live service games because they don't trust companies to continuously update titles and keep servers online and patch games, and then bad microtransactions, right? Like, when it comes to live service games, there's definitely a lot more worry than just a single standalone player experience. And, well, I guess it really didn't matter, because at the end of the day, this game wasn't going to be a smashing success regardless of the live service or not, or the monetization system or not, because its content was abysmal. I know Avowed recently came out and people were kind of comparing Avowed and Veilguard. I still think that Veilguard is worse because it hammers you over the head with identity politics and modern day terminology like transgender, non-binary. There's top surgery, scar toggles. There are characters you cannot ignore within this experience whose only point of existing is to hammer away at some sort of sexuality or identity, like Tosh, for example. By the way, guys, I'm non-binary. Nobody cares. It's not like you can kill Tosh or leave Tosh or kick Tosh from your party. You can't do any of that. So you just kind of have to deal with them, and that sucks. But the writing here was just not good either. It did not feel like a Dragon Age experience, and when you again try to make something for a new, younger, modern audience, you're going to lose existing fans, and that's why there's only 1,200 people playing in game right now. And when the game launched, it was at 89,418 as the all-time peak, which you might be saying to yourself isn't terrible because it's nearly 100,000 people. But then if you look at other games that have launched over the past couple of months, like Marvel Rivals, that's over 600,000 people. Look at Black Myth Wukong, which was only a couple of months before this, and that was almost 2.5 million gamers all-time peak. We're just not talking about very successful situations all around here, and it just goes to show that even when you try to give people something for free, if it is bad, people are not going to consume that content. So I will be keeping my eyes on this to see if they make any statements, if they try to cope, or if any developers see that wouldn't particularly shock me. But it seems that Dragon Age the Veilguard isn't meant for success. And even when it is being offered to people that already pay for the subscription service, nobody's giving it a shot. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.